Let's compare three armies of the past: the Roman legion, the army of Alexander the Great, and Genghis Khan's Mongols. Each of these armies will consist of 10,000 warriors. Their task is simple to understand, but almost impossible to accomplish: capture the modern American base FOB Salerno. To make things fair, each army gets only one attempt. After every battle, the base will be completely restored. Every soldier returns to his position, every wall is repaired, and every round of ammunition is replenished. Each army faces the exact same challenge. The garrison of FOB Salerno consists of just 200 experienced soldiers. At first glance, that number sounds laughably small compared to an army of 10,000 men. But there is one important detail. These 200 soldiers are defending a modern military base. Surrounding the base is nothing but endless open desert. No forests, no hills, no cover. Anyone approaching the perimeter can be seen from far away. The defenses include massive Hesco barriers, giant walls made of steel mesh and packed earth. In front of them are layers of concertina wire, designed to trap and slow down anyone trying to push through. Guard towers watch every approach. Mounted on those towers are M2 Browning 50 caliber machine guns, weapons capable of cutting through multiple men in a single burst. Supporting them are M240 machine guns, M224 mortars, armed Humvees, and soldiers carrying M4 rifles. But the real advantage of the defenders is technology. The garrison has thermal imaging devices, night vision equipment, motion sensors, and trip flares. Darkness offers no protection. Surprise is almost impossible. Now, let's see what happens. The first attacker is the Roman legion. 10,000 legionaries form up outside the base. Standards are raised. Officers move through the ranks. The soldiers know they are facing a fortified position, something Rome has conquered countless times before. The order is given. The legion begins to advance. Thousands of men march forward in disciplined formation, shields locked, lines perfectly organized. To any ancient army, this sight would be terrifying. To the defenders of FOB Salerno, it is the perfect target. Long before the Romans reach the walls, the machine guns open fire. The legionaries have never encountered anything like this. Their scutum shields are designed to stop arrows, javelins, and sword strikes. They offer absolutely no protection against 50 caliber rounds. Men begin falling instantly. The Romans respond exactly as they have been trained to do. Officers order the lines to tighten. The soldiers move closer together. Then comes the famous Testudo, the tortoise formation that helped Roman armies survive missile fire for centuries. Against modern machine guns, it becomes a disaster. The tighter the formation becomes, the easier it is to hit. Then the mortars begin firing. Explosions tear through the rear ranks. Entire groups disappear in seconds. Dust, smoke, screams, and confusion spread across the battlefield. Yet the Romans continue pushing forward. A few hundred manage to reach the concertina wire. They fight their way through the steel coils, only to discover another problem. Beyond the wire stand towering Hesco barriers. There are no ladders, no siege towers, no way through. The soldiers become trapped between the wire and the walls, while machine gun fire continues to rain down on them. The assault collapses. After roughly 90 minutes of fighting, the Roman legion has suffered between 6,000 and 7,000 casualties. The survivors retreat. For one of history's greatest armies, the battle ends in complete failure. Now it's Alexander the Great's turn. Unlike the Romans, Alexander does not rush into battle. The first thing he does is gather information. Scouts ride around the base. They observe the towers, study the walls, and watch the defenders. Alexander spends hours trying to understand what he is facing. Eventually, he reaches a conclusion. A daylight assault is suicide. His answer is simple: attack at night. As darkness falls, the operation begins. Archers move forward first. Fire arrows rise into the sky. Slingers begin launching stones toward the base. The goal is not destruction. The goal is distraction. Meanwhile, the famous companion cavalry circles around the battlefield and prepares to strike from another direction. Alexander's plan is clever. Instead of one massive assault, pressure will come from every side at once. But there is one thing Alexander cannot possibly know. The defenders have thermal imaging. To them, darkness changes nothing. The approaching soldiers glow clearly against the cold desert background. Motion sensors begin detecting movement. Trip flares ignite. Floodlights illuminate the battlefield. Within moments, the darkness disappears. Still, Alexander's strategy performs far better than the Roman assault. His soldiers approach in smaller groups. Casualties are lower. Several units actually reach the perimeter. Some men manage to cross the barbed wire.
Others reach the base of the walls. For the first time, the defenders face enemies directly against the perimeter. Then, Alexander's men discover what appears to be a weakness, the main gate. For a brief moment, it looks like there might be a way inside, but the opportunity vanishes almost immediately. The defenders concentrate their fire. Humvees move into position. Anyone approaching the gate is cut down before a breach can be created. The walls hold. The gate holds. The base survives. After approximately 8 hours of fighting, Alexander withdraws his army. He loses around 3,000 soldiers. He comes closer than the Romans, but victory remains out of reach. Finally, it is Genghis Khan's turn. The Mongol leader studies the base. He observes the walls. He observes the defenses. And then he makes a decision. He will not attack, at least not directly. Unlike the previous commanders, Genghis Khan asks a different question. Not how do I break into the base, but how does the base stay alive? The answer is obvious. Food, water, ammunition, supplies. Without those things, the base cannot function. So instead of launching an assault, the Mongols spread out across the desert. A siege ring nearly 20 kilometers wide forms around FOB Salerno. Every road is watched. Every supply route is blocked. Nothing enters. Nothing leaves. Days begin to pass. Small groups of Mongol riders constantly appear near the perimeter. They never stay long enough to be destroyed. They simply force the defenders to remain alert. At night, fires appear across the surrounding hills. One fire, then 5, then 20, then dozens. The defenders never know whether an attack is coming. Every night becomes a waiting game. Sleep becomes harder. Stress grows. Water supplies shrink. Ammunition reserves slowly decrease. The Mongols are not trying to destroy the base. They are trying to exhaust it. And little by little, the strategy works. After 2 weeks, the base is still standing, but conditions inside are becoming worse every day. The Mongols have suffered only minimal losses. Without ever storming the walls, they have placed the defenders in a losing position.
Now let's look at the final ranking. In third place, the Roman legion. Its discipline, courage, and formations were legendary, but they were completely overwhelmed by modern firepower. In second place, Alexander the Great. His reconnaissance, flexibility, and battlefield tactics allowed him to come much closer to success than the Romans. And in first place, Genghis Khan, the only commander who understood that the true weakness of the base was not its walls, but its logistics. And that brings us to the final conclusion. The Romans tried to defeat the base. Alexander tried to outsmart the base. But Genghis Khan attacked the one thing every military force depends on, its supply chain. And that is exactly why he achieved the best result of all 3 armies.